Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is James Brew Emisa, and welcome to the Brew Show. I'm here with Victor G, aka Victor the host. He's an MC, he's a lot of things, and for today, he's an Arsenal fan. As you can see, well kitted, and so am I. And this is our recap of yesterday's game, in particular between the table topping Gunners and Manchester United. Victor, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on the show as well. It's always a pleasure having you around to talk about stuff, not just football. Charlie, his head is a store of knowledge. You find out when you check him out on his social media channels as well. You see what I'm talking about. But Victor, first off, how did you see yesterday's game?
I'm still living in shock actually, because as to how Arsenal lost that game yesterday, I still can't believe how we lost the game, because honestly we're in like total control and two quick counter attacks. Of course, the 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 conclusion out there is that of course our midfield was naive, particularly Lokonga, who I believe is not Arsenal standard yet. I think he also needs like 2 seasons away, like Saliba had, and he has come back as a monster defender.
Yeah.
I think he also needs that to grow, mature, and then come back. Yeah, for now, I'll pick any other defender in even the lower bottom teams in EPL over Lokonga at this point in time. Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting that we are singling him out because I think picking otherwise he's your third choice holding midfielder.
Who?
Lokonga, because it's supposed to be Partey and then Eldini and then
Partey,
Xhaka.
Xhaka, Elneny, and then Lokonga.
so fourth choice.
Yes.
And
Yes,
he was thrown into the game because Partey is having fitness issues again,
Yes.
and I think Eldini is also unwell or hurt.
He has an injury. He has a minor injury.
So if looking at how the game went, how would you have hoped to shape up with the midfield based on the players that were available for the central midfield role?
Well, I think this would be a perfect opportunity to take a shot at Ateta and Edu Gaspar. Yes, because it was totally naive not to get a DM in this transfer window. Because I believe they handled it badly, hedging their bets on the fact that Xhaka and Elneny were available. Because of course now this is Partey's third season, right?
Yeah.
Third season.
Third
Yes,
season.
and then his injury history has proven that he's not a reliable player to have. Yes, on his day when he's injury free, he holds the fort. He's a good player, but then he's always constantly on
the injury list.
On the injury list, yes. So they should have gotten somebody. Bissouma was, what's his name?
James White Billiard.
Spurs bought Bissouma for 25 million, which should have got him. But of course, I understand why we didn't go for Bissouma, because now, of course, Arteta, credit to Arteta, because I was a doubter of Arteta. I didn't even understand why the board was taking to him, but now it is becoming evident, and I believe Arteta will be an A-lister coach.
Yeah.
Because he's built Arsenal from the ground up. Yes. And now everybody's on the same page, and there's unity, there's a clear structure, there is a clear vision, and everybody has bought into it. So for that, and he reminds me of his mentor. He wouldn't like to give him too much credit. Of course, he respects him, but he reminds me of Wenger, because Wenger is a builder.
Yes. As seen from the Emirates, the early Emirates.
Yes. Yes. He's a but I dare say that Arteta has gone a step further. I don't know whether you understand what I'm trying. I dare say that Arteta has proven to be
the proof is not evidence because you guys haven't won anything
yet
major apart from the FA Cup, but you can see the results.
On the field, Arteta hasn't achieved anything
yet.
But in the club, as a club,
he's done it.
Building, he's done an exceptional job.
Yeah. Could you maybe use this to try and take off blame from Edu and the board? They said that you guys were chasing Telemans and a few other methods, but they are not that defensive though.
Even the Telemans chase, I was skeptical about it. Well, if they brought him on board, he's a quality player to have, but he's not a DM.
Yes.
Our major need is the DM. Because again, now that Xhaka has proven to be a much improved player, because he's played a little bit advanced.
Yeah. And Partey rather has dropped
So now that should have told us now that a need for a DM was of paramount importance. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
For two reasons. Partey is always injury prone. And then Xhaka is now giving us his best output because he's playing further forward.
He's not a creative.
Yes. So at least the minimum we could have done was get at least one. I would have said two, but at least one.
Yeah. Two big things because Europa.
Yes, but at least one. So Telemann, yes, we should have bought him, but he's not. It's just a luxury.
Yeah.
A luxury add.
Yeah.
Not a necessity that we really need now. Yes. So that was one thing. And so a friend of mine was arguing yesterday that we were priced out of a deal. I was like, no, it's not true. Onana went to. I would take Onana, the Everton boy. Yes. Over Lokonga any day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, and one thing I have seen is that an average player in a good team becomes a world beater. A great player in an average team becomes an average player. Classic case in point is Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Robertson was nowhere near a great player, but he was an average player by hardworking who went into a system of great players and a great coach. And look at where he is now.
Yeah, one of the best left backs in Europe.
But I bet you if Robertson had gone to any other team, any of the
other top
six, the mid
okay, so somewhere like
mid-table teams,
somewhere like Leeds, somewhere like Brighton, then or Newcastle, then
that's even too far. If he had even gone to Everton or Southampton or even Leicester, he may not have been the success story he is now.
Mm-hmm. And for 8 million,
yes,
no pressure with your price tag
at all. So my point being, a player like Onana, who is above average in my opinion, all right, in a national setup that is doing well currently, would have been a world beater.
Mm-hmm. Think it again about the people who are available. Boubacar Kamara was taken to Aston Villa on a free. We knew he was a free agent. I was upset United didn't go for it when the opportunity presented himself. So the same scenario applies here for Arsenal. Yeah. For what he would have looked attractive for United for, which is European football. That's why not Champions League, European football. You guys offer the same thing this season.
Yeah.
And he would have fit, I think on paper, he looks like he would have fit better into the Arsenal system rather than the United one because it's a ball playing game who can drop in as a center back.
Good. And then it is a well-oiled cup at the moment. So he would have fitted it. His adaptation would have been eased a bit.
Yeah.
Because now he's coming to a system that is apparently is working. Because now all the players are united on the same page, so they understand exactly what is going on. Yeah. Because that's another thing that I've realized about the adaptation process. People don't pay attention to. If the team has a great coach, but the system has not bedded in properly with the players, however great the player you bring in, because the players they already have not really sunk into the system properly, that new player will struggle additionally.
Because he doesn't know what to do.
Because even the people there don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But if the system has been well bought into and it is properly working, then if a player comes in, it is easier. His adaptation process or period is shortened and it is easier. Classic case in point is Liverpool. Mm-hmm. What's his name? The boy who came from Portugal last season. Diaz hit the ground running. Straight away.
Yeah. Kulusevski has Spurs too.
Straight away.
Yeah.
Because at that point, Spurs now understood what Conte needs.
Yeah. If he had come a few weeks earlier,
it would have been disastrous. Mm-hmm. Yes. He would have struggled, and then it would have been like, oh, it is a terrible buy, and why he's not fit for the EPL. No. You see, so that's one thing too. You have to also be paying attention. That's how come United. Somebody who rightly said, or somebody funnily said that United has become a graveyard for great players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that statement started with Schweinsteiger, Di Maria, in the same window, Falcao.
Yes, because all those coaches. A typical example a classic example is Van Gaal. Mm-hmm. Van Gaal's system was not really understood by the players. Mm-hmm. A great player in a system that has not really been bought into by the existing players will struggle because already the existing players don't even understand the system. Mm-hmm. So however great a player is, if he comes into that system, the adaptation process will be prolonged. And if that persists for a longer time, now people lose patience and it will be like, oh, it's a terrible buy, it wasn't worth it, there's not a great player, and it's not suited to the EPL. No. There are a lot of factors, and this particular factor is not something people really pay more attention to, like it should be paid attention to, because it's also important. Because and again, so realize that in Man U, that has happened many times.
Currently Van der Beek.
Yes, Van der Beek, even Varane.
Yeah.
Varane is now a staple in Ten Hag's team now because he has bought into Ten Hag's system.
Yes, because it's something that he's familiar with.
Yes, so now because the same Varane last season
Was a shambles.
Yes, and now of course the consensus quickly, because football fans and football pundits, they are impatient. The consensus quickly became, oh, he's not cut out for the EPO, or he's a finished product. His past is best. No,
He's come to cash out.
Exactly. You see, and then another classic case in point in the same Manchester United is the Martinez guy.
Yeah.
Now, United's first 2 games, the players themselves hadn't really understood
What was expected?
Ten Hag wanted.
Yeah.
So when he came, he was put into that lineup. He was also struggling.
Even though he's used to the coach.
Even though he's used to the coach, but the team, because the team he's come into doesn't understand it, he's struggling. Though he knows the coach.
Yeah.
So you see the point.
Yeah.
So you realize that after game 3, game 4, game 5, now people are saying, oh, because after game 2, people were like, oh, he's not cut out for the APL. He's too short to be a center back.
Yeah.
Forget that wasn't the problem. Now it seemed to all of us that he's playing better now.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter is that the team now is playing better, and they understand Ten Hag system better. So it is also feeding into him.
Yeah, that's true. Guys, like I said, Charlie, wealth of knowledge. Not just football. Everything he is involved in, Charlie, he is a go-to person. So you need to contact this guy after the video, Charlie. I'll let him leave his social media handles, and then you guys will engage him for yourselves. Now, back to yesterday's match. Now, it ended 3-1, but the first goal, at least the ball entering the net the first time, was scored by Martinelli.
Yes.
For what people are still debating on as to whether it should have been brought back for the foul that like it was, or the goal should have stood. Now, for those who didn't watch the match, Christian Eriksen had the ball and was pressed by a few Arsenal players, including Odegaard, who was adjudged to have taken the ball from him, then quickly lays the ball off for Martinelli, and Arsenal scored a beautiful counter-attacking goal for, at the time, 1-0. Then the goal was brought back and disallowed eventually because it was judged that Odegaard had fouled Eriksen. Now, me being a United fan, yes, I did say it was a foul. And looking at the incident in slow-mo, you could see that there was a push on Christian Eriksen, and I think there were hands on him as well. But you could argue it may not have been enough, but that's the thing. The football is very subjective. Now, the issue is, should the goal have stood because there was a break in play, or not necessarily a break in play, but another phase of play has started, or should it have stood because there was a transition and that led to the goal? Where do you stand on this?
English officiating has always been terrible in my opinion, and the use of VAR has always been a disaster. And as to why it is only happening in England, only the English people will explain for us to understand, because the VAR has always been used in Germany, in Italy,
in Spain,
in Italian football, where there's a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of corruption. They seem to have a better know-how of the use of the VAR. In Spain, it is working well. In France, it is working well. But in England, it has always been a problem since the inception. But on this particular case, I will not fault the referee, because if he taking the foul, I understand where he's coming from, because of course the tackle again by Odegaard was a bit naive. He didn't need to stretch out his hand like that. Because he could have taken the ball without doing all of that. Okay, and if the referee too hadn't taken the foul, I'd have understood where it's coming from, because of course it wasn't really a foul, but then you could see that there was an outstretched hand and there was a push, whether it was soft or not.
It so happened.
Yes, and the intent clearly was there, but Odegaard didn't need or didn't have to do that. He could have taken the ball clearly off him, and then in this particular situation, I don't blame the the referee either way. So it being chalked off, it was unfortunate. It being chalked off, I understand where he's coming from. If they allowed that to go as an Arsenal fan,
That was what I understood as a man.
yes,
If the goal had been
yes, yes. So in this case, it was on the knife edge, so it could have fallen either way. So, but unfortunately for Arsenal fans, he fell against us.
But you see that last time, it was a knife edge decision that could have gone either way. Doesn't that make it not clear and therefore not obvious, and therefore VAR shouldn't have come in?
Good. So again, that is where my problem with the use of VAR is, because there seems to be a contradiction of terms.
Yes. And not just in yesterday's isolated incident.
Ever since. And this issue has been raised up on many occasions, but it seemed like it was falling on deaf ears. But this season, there was a review of the incidents by the authorities, which I find very interesting. But finally, it seems people are waking up, because this thing, the rules have been clearly defined. Now we have to follow the rules to the letter, because the authorities made us understand that VAR will only intervene when there's a clear and obvious foul that was overlooked by the referee. So that's the only time that VAR would intervene. But this particular incident, it wasn't really a clear and obvious one, because like I said, it's a knife edge decision. Yes, a knife edge decision. So they should have allowed the referee to go on whatever decision he takes without intervening in that whole process, because that is the clear rule for that is the only thing that will make the VAR intervene when there's a clear and obvious. But this one, it is not obvious. It's a knife edge. So depending on where you're standing and who you are and how objective you really are, that's when you decide one way or the other. So VAR, there was no need for VAR to intervene, in my opinion.
Now, we had already spoken about Arsenal's midfield being naive on the day, and that's played a huge role in how the outcome of the match turned out. Could you also make a case for any other department of the team not working? Because you guys clearly control the game.
Probably this comment will be a bit unfair. To be honest with you, I was a Jesus skeptic from the beginning, because I was like, Charlie, don't need to throw 45 million pounds at a player he's good, but he wasn't really the top player in Manchester City. And for Pep to go and buy an Argentine player, what's that boy's name? Alvarez. Clearly, that clearly tells you how he saw Jesus, because in my opinion, they are almost the same kind of player. But that clearly tells you how he saw Jesus. Probably, I don't know, probably there was a conversation between he and Jesus that he wanted to leave, so hence Pep was making a decision, or probably that was a decision that also pushed Jesus out finally. We can't tell. But I like his work rate. I like the energy he has brought into the Arsenal team. I like the fact that he's always tracking back. He's always trying to help. He's central midfield. He's in right back, left back, in our penalty box. He's trying to help out. But it is Ateta has to manage that whole thing carefully.
Because he needs to make sure that the guy
is where he needs to be to score. Yes, that's why he was brought in. But we also need his energy too.
Yes. So it's dicey.
Exactly.
So could it be, if other players step up with their tracking back, their off the ball play, Jesus doesn't need to do it that much? I believe that nature has been ingrained into his system. So Jesus, whether the whole his other 9 outfield players are doing it, he will still do that. So you realize that Jesus he's playing like the typical Brazilian team of the 60s, 70s. All attack, all defend. All attack, all defend. So Jesus is where the ball is. So if the ball is exactly, so if the ball if the ball is against us now, he's trying to help recover the ball. And if Arsenal is on the front foot, that's when he also moves. But sometimes he has to go against the flow. Typical example is Haaland. Haaland is clinical because he's always within the 60 yards.
Yes, he as much as possible he tries to come into midfield and try to engage in the play a bit. But it is in his mind to be his priority in his mind is be at the right place to score the goals. That is why you have been brought into the system.
Yeah.
So here, Arteta, of course, Haaland and Jesus are not similar kind of players because Jesus has the skill, the mobility to do what he does.
Haaland has the physique.
Physique also,
Yeah.
So he's maximizing his potential the way he thinks it is best for him to do that. Yes. So like I'm trying. The point I'm trying to make that this now will test how crafty Arteta is, the way he manages Jesus. And Jesus, I don't know that he becomes tired or I don't know. Sometimes he's not as clinical as he needs to.
Yeah. The argument has been made because he was bought at City to take Aguero out.
Yes.
He fitted Pep's system then better. But yeah, for whatever reason, Aguero saw the competition
And up this game
and pushed Jesus to the wings.
Yes.
Which has led to where we are now. And the argument is, as much as Jesus is a number 9, he doesn't always bring in the goal ratio that you expect a number 9
to bring in. To be fair to him, probably my next illustration may not be too helpful, but that's the best I can come up with now. Now, a duck is born a duck. It's in a system to be a duck. So, of course, if there's a flood somewhere, the duck can thrive and can thrive on land. But now, if that duck is placed among chickens and raised by a hen, it's in that environment for a long period of time, there's a tendency to forget its other abilities. Yes. Yeah. So, because Jesus has been played away from being a center forward to being a winger, it will take a while. So, I can bet that from next season he will be a more efficient player because now his system is now readjusting to a center forward role now because he has been playing as a winger for a long time. So the center forward instincts in him have been eroded over 2-3 seasons.
Yeah.
Or how long has he been in City?
He's been with City for at least 5 seasons. So
good.
I think on the wings is 2-3 seasons.
Good. So that natural instinct has been eroded. It is deep down somewhere, but it has to be
revitalized.
Exactly, it has to be. It's like somebody who knows how to walk but had probably a terrible car crash and then their legs were broken or something. So though the leg has been healed, that person have to go to therapy to relearn how to walk.
Yeah, I get it.
So Jesus now has to be retaught what it is to play as a center forward role. So this is where Arteta's
coaching
guy will be critical. So how to manage it without sacrificing one good quality for another, but just add on. Let him maintain what it is, but add on the fact that okay, you're a center forward, so this is the topmost priority. Yes, help out your coach, your team. Sorry, yes, help track back, but ultimately
score.
Yes, center forward. I don't know what I'm making.
So let's see with the goal changer right now. Haaland is clearly at 10.
Yeah.
I think Mitrovic has 5, give or take 4 or 5. Jesus I think has 4.
Is it 3
or 4?
Yeah.
Because a brace against Leicester, disallowed here, a goal against Aston Villa, at least 3.
3, yeah. At least 3 goals. Yes.
I mean, 3 goals from 6 games is not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, and he's clearly getting assist as well.
Yeah.
So that I think his goal contribution for us now right now has been very good.
If you are going to look at his goals to match ratio, it looks like it's not bad. But if you are going to look at his goals to chances, yes,
then that's where the issue comes in.
Yes. So the metric for measurement determines the kind of score we give him. So if you are going to look at goals to match, yes, of course, 3 goals or 4 goals in 6 matches is not bad. It's not bad return. But if you are going to look at the chances he has and the goals he scored, then it paints a different picture. So it's something we have to look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we've looked at midfield naivety yesterday. We've looked at Jesus probably not being at the right place when he needed him to. So moving forward, now Arsenal has had a setback, but Arsenal are still top of the table.
Yeah.
what do you think your club will have to do to ensure that the top four is no longer just a dream, but it is an actual reality by the end of the season?
Again, our failure to abort, at least one DM will come back to haunt us badly, because even this United team that is still getting to understand what Ten Hag requires them, and their off the ball activities is not top notch yet. See how we considered 3 goals. So imagine this Arsenal team is playing. Fortunately for us, Chelsea is rubbish at this point in time. Liverpool is rubbish at this point in time. So of course, meeting those two people, I don't see them as.
But the Spurs and the City.
Spurs, even Spurs. Okay, Spurs. Well, they are grinding out results. So City, so a team like City, even Leicester, they are way off. I would have added them to the mix. But a team like City,
Brighton,
good. Brighton is the perfect thing I was looking for. They are not your top 16, but they are a well-oiled cog.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this: Brighton, if you play Brighton today with this midfield, the best you can hope for is a draw. Not because they're better than us, but because our engine room is not what it ought to be.
Yeah.
So that is the problem. That is the problem, and it's not something you can fix now until January. Or the other prayer is that Partey should miraculously recover. And you see, one thing I've also noticed about Partey is that he's injury prone one, and then when he comes back, it takes him at least 6 to 8 weeks to come back to his, I won't say best, to come back to like 70% of his abilities. So not only have we lost him in the 1 or 2 months he's out, we also lose him for that. I don't know what I'm trying to say. For that period also, yes.
The real period.
Exactly. Because if Partey comes back today, I'm not expecting a top-notch Partey today. I'm expecting a top-notch Partey probably in October.
Just walk up time and then you go back again.
Yes, you go back and probably come back an easier player. So again, this tells us that the DM was a priority we missed out on.
Yeah. So Arsenal to bounce back for their next 2 games, right?
I won't say bounce back. I'll just.
This should be a blip.
My only fear is, okay, this would be a test of their psyche. Because for me, this is not a blip. This was just some naivety being exposed. So they should just continue more of the same. But then if they allow it to get into their heads more than it should, then that's where the problem will begin. Then they may revert to old ways. Yes. So they should just see it like, just dust yourself. Don't even think about it. Just.
So just think about it and move forward. Is the Europa right now going to be a welcome distraction or an unnecessary distraction?
Because of our threadbare midfield, especially central midfield, Europa at this point in time is going to be problematic. Because imagine if Lokonga even gets, the Lokonga who I think is below par gets injured. Then imagine the disaster. Because Vieira, Fabio Vieira is nowhere near a DM.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the physique for it. Of course, the argument is, Bakante was short, Makelele is short, Essien is short. Vieira is short and is very slim.
Yeah.
So, and then he doesn't have the. See, some players are just not. They can't play that position.
Yeah.
So then our problems will be exposed unless probably Ateta has some trick up his sleeves. Probably there is some small boy in the reserves who is good
for a chance. Because I heard a lot of people saying Matt Smith should have been part of the squad at least for the Villa match. Okay. So I think people are tipping Matt Smith could be the solution to this.
No problem.
Yeah.
So good. So this could be an opportunity for a Hurricane of Arsenal to step forward.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hurricane became Hurricane because Adebayo was rubbish at some point.
So that
was terrible. So Pochettino had no other option. And then look, knowing Daniel Levy for who he is, he's not going to splash the cash on some player, buy an expensive player in January.
Yeah, because he had done that for these people in July.
Yes, good. And his investment here was huge.
Yeah.
So Hurricane steps forward, and then the rest they say is history.
Yes.
And then he has become what he is. So probably it is an opportunity for Arsenal to be compelled to give one of the reserve boys a chance, because the reserves. I've been watching the Arsenal reserves games, and to be honest with you, I'm impressed by what I've seen so far. If the under 21s and even the under 18s, what's his name? Wilshere is proving. Probably I'm digressing a bit, but Wilshere is proving. I believe that. Yeah. He'll be a very good coach. My only problem, not problem, but he should just
not get tired of himself.
No, forget his career cry and just throw himself wholly into the coaching, because it is a place. It takes them a while to transition. Finally, yes, he has retired from football, but it takes a while also to transition psychologically. Yeah, so I for him, I just pray that transition period is very brief. So he threw himself goal, because I watched the under 18 match, and to be honest with you, I'm impressed by, and I like his calm disposition. He's not backing out too many instructions. He's no. He's calm. He listens to his assistant coaches, so he'll be a great coach. So there's good. I was listening to one of the Arsenal reserves coaches, and then he was talking about the fact that he was the one who pushed the first team to take Saka on earlier than was necessary. And he was saying he was talking about the fact that there were a lot of pushbacks. They were like, he's supposed to be playing with his age group. Why are you speeding him up? Yeah. Good. But he was like, no, the guy is ready for that. And again, the rest with Bukayo Saka is history. So probably there is a DM in the Arsenal reserves who should be sped up the food chain, and then push into the first thing. Because for now, that's our only hope of redemption till January, because you can't buy any player now. Till January, unless probably a DM's contract is terminated and becomes a free agent. Now we can do that, but for now, no. So it will be dicey. And it will be that DM role
will be crucial
to Arsenal. Yes, crucial. But I still believe strongly that Arsenal, our worst finish this season will be a third.
Nice.
Will be third. Yeah.
Nice. So Victor, in wrapping up, your social media handles.
I'm Victor, the host on all socials. IG, Twitter, Facebook. So Victor, the host. Just look for me and say hi. Say hi. We'll talk about everything and anything.
I'm James Bremisa, and you can find James Bremisa on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can find the Brew Show on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and here, of course, on YouTube. Victor, it's been a pleasure. Guys, we are not done. Here and I are going to do another video for you, so stay tuned. Bye.